74% of companies struggle to achieve and scale value from AI adoption, even after initial deployment. So the tech is there, adoption is growing, but real impact, that's where so many companies are struggling. Which means readiness is not simply, do we have the tech? Did we implement it? Readiness is, do we have clarity on where AI can create real value? Not just wherever someone wants to experiment. Do our processes and workflows support integrating AI so it doesn't just sit on the sidelines? And most importantly, do our people have the trust, skills, and norms to use it well? If you're a CEO, entrepreneur, or business owner that can't seem to figure out what is blocking you from attaining the next level of growth in your business, then listen up. I'm Maria De Lorenzo Reyes. I've taken what I've learned in 30 years working inside multi-million-dollar corporations, building my own business, and consulting my clients, and discovered 5 themes that stop a business from scaling. I've created a tool to help you get the answers you need to get unstuck and unlock the next level of growth. Head over to scale.mariadr.com and click the link to get your custom Scale Factor Formula scorecard when this episode is over. Hey everybody, welcome to Finding the Upside. I'm your host, Maria De Lorenzo Reyes, and you know this show, we talk about leadership, culture, and transformation, not just the shiny buzzwords, but how to achieve those things. But today, we are actually talking about the buzzword of all buzzwords, AI. Now, I want to give you a preview of the things that we're specifically going to be digging into today. 3 things. First, why your readiness, not the tech itself, is the real factor in whether AI will actually help your company. Why so many CEOs say they're not ready, but because of the fear of missing out, they're still pushing AI pilots that don't move the needle. And why treating AI as just another piece of technology is the wrong frame. And how your results change when you treat it as a partner in development rather than a gadget. If you're a CEO, founder, or leader who leads a team and you feel like everyone else has the AI thing figured out except you, you are exactly who I'm talking to. Let's start with the question under all the noise. Will AI actually have a positive impact on a company? Or am I just as a CEO or a leader being sold another shiny object? Let's go over what we know from recent research. According to McKinsey's global survey in 2024 on AI, 65% of organizations reported that they were regularly using generative AI, nearly double from 10 months before that. By 2025, McKinsey's updated State of AI report showed that 88% of respondents say their organizations are using AI in at least one business function. That said, adoption doesn't equal business impact. A report in 2024 done by the Boston Consulting Group found that 74% of companies struggle to achieve and scale value from AI adoption, even after initial deployment. So the tech is there, adoption is growing, but real impact, that's where so many companies are struggling. Which means readiness is not simply, do we have the tech? Did we implement it? Readiness is, do we have clarity on where AI can create real value? Not just wherever someone wants to experiment. Do our processes and workflows support integrating AI so it doesn't just sit on the sidelines? And most importantly, do our people have the trust, skills, and norms to use it well? And I'm just going to put a pin in this one because we are going to talk about how to ensure that AI is embraced and accepted rather than feared by your people. So McKinsey's 2024 survey also noticed that while employees were using Gen AI tools, few companies had enterprise-wide governance, risk management, or formal oversight in place, something that is super critical when you scale from pilots to production. So yes, AI can have a positive impact, but only if your organization is ready to use it intentionally. All right, here I'm going to talk about the CEO paradox. We're not ready, but everybody else is doing it. And everybody is with their FOMO, worried that they're missing out or behind. Let's talk about this leadership tension that so many CEOs are silently living with, team leaders silently living with. On one hand, many executives privately admit they're not confident that their organizations are ready for an enterprise-wide AI adoption, and that includes the things I mentioned: governance, process, and culture. Several companies don't have clear AI policies or frameworks, so deploying AI becomes a patchwork of pilots, experiments, and hopeful trial and error. And that's in the McKinsey report as well. And yet, despite that, AI usage continues to expand. In McKinsey's 2025 survey, it shows that the majority of organizations now report regular AI use in at least one function. But here's the kicker. According to MIT, a study they released in 2025, 95% of enterprise generative AI pilot projects fail to produce measurable profit and loss impact. In other words, most companies are running pilots, but almost none are seeing bottom line results. Why? Because many of these pilots are driven by fear of missing out rather than a clear, disciplined strategy in the way that it's being implemented or the reason or decision to implement it. Here's some common patterns in failing pilots that we've seen. Vague goals. Let's see what AI can do rather than a sharp business problem. Poor integration. AI tools aren't embedded into core workflows, so adoption and usage stay low. It's treated as an IT project rather than a cross-functional shift in how the work gets done. Leaders end up somewhere between wanting to be first and wanting to be safe, but rarely investing in the deep readiness that it takes to make AI work. Here's the reframe that I want to offer. The problem isn't that you're not ready. The problem is believing that readiness is a destination instead of a practice. You can't buy readiness. You have to build it. So this next part, let's stop treating AI as a tool. Let's start treating it as a partner. This is where I think most organizations go wrong. They treat AI like another technology stack instead of a strategic partner in how the work gets done. Now, when you treat AI as a tool, you think, once we get the right platform and infrastructure, then we'll be ready. We'll wait until everything's stable. We'll license the tool and worry about adoption later. That mindset keeps you stuck in permanent pre-launch. When you treat AI as a partner, the conversation starts to shift. Where are our people buried in repetitive low-value tasks? Where are we losing time, making avoidable mistakes, or burning out good people? How could AI amplify human capability, lighten the load, and unlock creativity, strategic, and deeper thinking? That's where the breakthroughs happen. All right, remember I said I'm going to put a pin in the readiness and adopting it into the culture? Let's talk about addressing job loss, fear, and culture. Before we go any further about talking about this or advancing it, I want to acknowledge something that's often overlooked. And in the work I do, I see it day after day. This is absolutely critical. The fear your people have that AI is a job killer and they are going to be out of a job while you're implementing it. The concern is real, it's widespread, and if ignored, it can undermine your entire AI initiative. When leaders don't acknowledge that fear, what you often get is silent resistance, anxiety and distrust, and even sabotage of adoption. Readiness isn't just about tech or process. It's about psychological safety. You need to name the fear, create space for honest conversation, and show clearly that AI is being implemented to elevate human work, not erase it. When you treat AI as a partner, you're not replacing your people. You're freeing them from the drudgery so they can do what only humans can do. Connection, judgment, creativity, relationship, and strategy. That's the cultural readiness that will determine whether AI lifts you up or drags you down. Here's what success looks like pairing human and AI collaboration. Research and spot trending show that companies seeing the real returns from AI are doing these things. They're picking one sharply defined business problem, not a long list of hopes. Maybe it's customer service backlog, slow underwriting, repetitive reporting, or supply chain predictability. Then they're designing for human and AI collaboration, not human versus machine. AI handles grunt work, humans review, decide, and create value. The third thing they're doing is investing in people and governance, training, clear policies, risk management, data hygiene, and leadership accountability. In fact, McKinsey's latest survey shows that redesigning workflows and CEO governance oversight are strongly correlated with bottom line improvements from AI. The fourth thing is committing to small, structured experiments rather than waiting for perfection. Build readiness through doing, learning, reiterating, iterating again and again. This is the difference between an AI pilot that ends up in a drawer and AI that becomes part of how you operate, decide, lead, and grow. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, we might not be ready, but we can't sit this out, here's where to start. As a recap, identify one area in your organization where people are drowning in repetitive work. Ask your team, if we had an AI coworker here, what would you have it do? Let them co-design the first experiment. And then make readiness a habit, not a goal. Start small, learn fast, iterate, and build your AI muscles. And lastly, ensure that you have done all the work to create the culture of embracing this and allowing your team to have the mindset to understand what you're doing, to not get rid of them, but rather elevate their work. Human work and AI innovation. Transformation lives on the other side of implementation. I talk about that all the time. It's not on the other side of the perfect strategy. It's not on the other side of endless planning. And it's not on the other side of implementing an AI tool. It is on the other side of implementing in a way that has the impact that you are expecting. I'm not saying that you'll get massive gains overnight. We've experimented ourselves and run pilots here in my organization. We've gained some real value, but only by following these outlined steps that I just mentioned. Instead of buying the tech and hoping, give your people a seat, purpose, and a path in this next era to actually get value from this partner. If this episode landed for you, share it with another leader who's trying to figure out how to move from not ready to lead with AI. If you want to check out all the research I mentioned, they're linked in the show notes. All the studies from McKinsey and from MIT, everything I sourced is in the show notes waiting for you. And if you want help building real readiness for AI, for change, for growth, reach out. You know how to find me. I'm Maria De Laurentiis Reyes, and this has been Finding the Upside. See you in the next episode. All right, so I hope you loved this episode and found it valuable. Thanks for hanging out with me. And if you'd be so kind, if you know someone else that this will help, please share this episode with them. Just grab a link for this specific episode, text it to a friend or colleague so it can help more people like you. Thanks so much for tuning in. I will see you next time for more entrepreneurial goodness. Same time, same place on the Finding the Upside podcast.